Hello, Corey with Creative Habitats here, also joined with Carson. We are excited to show you our ideas on what we can do for your landscape. So let me take you on a tour of those ideas. First thing we're going to do is show you an overhead perspective. Then I'll break down this design into its individual pieces and show you what the different materials and plants in this design look like. So if you come off of your driveway, we have put in a flagstone stepper walkway that leads to your stairs. In this, we've added some anchoring elements of boulders through here. We have oak leaf hydrangea. We've got the wall that's right on the terrace, and then some more oak leaf hydrangea with a bit of zoysia grass in here that wraps around the backyard landscape. Let's take a closer look at some of these elements. On the flagstone walkway, let me show you some options for that. So the simplest option would be individual flagstone steppers that go through there surrounded by gravel. Next option, we could interplant. One of the reasons why I chose this photo is because it does a great job of capturing the essence of what we're trying to create in there with more of a green, lush atmosphere. Same thing in this example where the flagstone steppers are interplanted, but lots of shade and lots of green, lush plants that you're surrounded by. Zooming in on here. So this is boulders, and then over here we have oak leaf hydrangea. There are camellias in here, and then we've bordered it with monkey grass through here as well. And I'll show you in a little bit how we use that monkey grass in a little bit more artistic fashion than your traditional boring line of monkey grass. So this is a white oak leaf hydrangea. There's also the option for blue endless summer hydrangea. These are Shishikashira camellia. They're a smaller variety of camellia. I've chosen these not only for their bloom, but they're also evergreen. On the boulders, now I use this picture because with these steps you had a little bit of a sense of scale. I would incorporate one or two boulders of approximately this size in there. In this photo, I've incorporated, it shows you boulders with interplanted with different plant material. So just so you can get a feel for what that looks like. On the wall in the back, one of my recommendations on this, there's not really a reason to go all the way to the ground. I would really view this almost more as an edge. And this is similar to what that would look like, but what I would recommend is maybe if you look at about half the height of this on the edge of the terrace, that's what I would recommend in terms of the money that you spend. We're more than happy to go all the way to the ground, but unless you're standing in your backyard looking back at the house, you may not appreciate the full magnitude of this wall. Here's another example of a Tennessee fieldstone wall. Around the boulders, one of the more unique plants that we could use would be Japanese forest grass. Other plantings that would do really, really well too would just be your basic hosta. And when we talk about hosta, there's so many different varieties of those. But I wanted to introduce this to you because it's a little bit more unique than what most people use in our area. Another plant is coral bells. I like this because it's of the lush, darker color, but also there's a lot of different other colors of coral bells available to choose from. Another plant that we have in there is Little Henry Itea. This was just in bloom a couple weeks ago. Not only do you get bloom out of it, but it's got great fall color as well. This is a deciduous plant. It loses its leaves in the winter. Another photo of it right there. All right, let's talk monkey grass. So I put monkey grass into this design because it's evergreen and it adds some good support. But what I don't recommend is a pencil stroke of monkey grass, more like a brush stroke like what you see in this configuration here. That's going to look, it's going to have more depth to it like what you see in this photo. This is another good example of where you see monkey grass used as a brush stroke versus a pencil stroke. Other supporting elements at the end of the wall, we have more oak leaf hydrangea as well as a Japanese maple. So Couple of choices on Japanese maple. Since everything else in your yard is green, my first recommendation would be something like this, which is an Emperor 1 Japanese maple. But there's also some other varieties that would be just a green Japanese maple. My favorite would be coral bark. It's green, but come fall, it lights up the most brilliant yellow that you've ever seen. But that would be coral bark Japanese maple. This also captures the essence of what we're looking at creating back there. These are coral bells. Here's the Japanese forest grass, and then you can also see some ferns in here as well. Other plants that would be good for support would be holly fern. Calla lilies is another one if you wanted to add a little bit more color and interest back there. Love calla lilies because these also make great cut flowers. As you drop down to the lower part of the terrace in your backyard, if you wanted to add some native azaleas back there, they would also be great in lighting that area up. As you can see, they also add a lot of wildlife attraction in the springtime when they're in bloom. This is an elevation of this area. You can see the wall that's right on top of the terrace. You can see the hydrangea and the coral bells. Here's the liriope, boulders, and flagstone steppers that lead you to your back deck stairs. So that is an overview of our ideas. Obviously, we're always happy to make any changes on that. We appreciate the opportunity to show you our ideas. Thank you so much, Corey with Creative Habitats Landscaping.